What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of XP Reviews. This time, we are sitting down and discussing our thoughts on the PS5, PS4, and PC game Stray. I'm one of your reviewers, Mike Z, and joining me is my co-reviewer, the furry friend himself, Thorkage, DJK. What's going on?
Meow.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Ugh, that's gonna be that episode, huh?
Trophy unlocked.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, technically, you gotta do it 99 more times.
Yeah.
Don't do it 99 more times, please.
Don't worry, I won't.
What's going on, my man? Haven't talked to you in a couple weeks. Well, I guess just a week and a half or something from the last time we did the podcast. Anything new?
Um, Not really. Like I said before we got everything set up and going, was going back through and trophy hunting and then kind of by accident started my attempt at the speedrun trophy, so I'll probably try to knock that out. Or not I kind of want to platinum this before I move on to anything else. Um then maybe I'll get the motivation to jump back into platinuming Horizon, but not really not really a whole lot going on, just
How's the
being a
kid?
new dad.
I was gonna say, how's the kid?
Not bad. We're still working through. She's kind of hitting her first like growth spurt, so she's gets to a point where she's cranky no matter what, but I actually just heard Lena get her kind of calm back down a bit, so hopefully she can kind of get her calmed down, or at least cope long enough for me to get through the review so I can go help again. But yeah, it's been crazy, huge life change, but I'm getting through it, surviving, having fun. So
That's good. That's good. Well, I guess let's dive right in. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is going to be the review for Stray. If you like this review and want to hear more from us here at the Experience Point, you can go check out the XP Podcast, our weekly video game and pop culture news podcast, where Logan and myself and sometimes DJ sit down with y'all and talk about all the news stories and happenings inside and out of the video game world. We post a new episode each and every week, so you can listen to it whenever you desire. Let's not feed around the bush. Let's jump right into this review of Stray, released on July 19th for PS4, PS5, and PC. Stray is a third-person cat adventure game set amidst the detailed, neon-lit alleys of a decaying cyber city and the murky environments of its seedy underbelly. Roam surroundings high and low, defend against unforeseen threats, and solve the mysteries of this unwelcoming place inhabited by curious droids and dangerous creatures. See the world through the eyes of the cat and interact with the environment in playful ways. Be stealthy, nimble, silly, and sometimes as annoying as possible with the strange inhabitants of this mysterious world. Along the way, the cat befriends a small flying drone known only as B-12. With the help of this newfound companion, the duo must find a way out. So, with that introduction to the game, this is the game that DJ and I have both beat. Speaking of that, where are you at? As I said, you beat the game, you're working on the trophies. How many trophies do you have left? How long have you played? Tell the audience what's up.
I think technically between my two files, well, I'll just do my main file. I'm at like 7 hours. Um, I had it completed in just because there was so much to like explore, and it was like it wasn't so much I was trying to trophy hunt during my first playthrough, but it was like the for now being a huge world and a huge game, there was so much detail and so much little nooks and crannies because like you're a small little cat. Like there was so many cool things to do and trophies to try to hunt down. Um, I mean, little buggy. I think there was trophies I should have gotten on that first playthrough that I didn't like. There's a trophy for no spoilers. It's a trophy for scratching on something during every single chapter, and I don't think I hit that one. I have 16 out of the 25. Um, my favorite that I got because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to do it without sitting up here for an hour, which is productive day, which is literally you find a spot for the cat to take a nap and you leave it there for an hour. Like that was just like sweet. Um, I mean, some of them obviously are you get along the way. Um, some of them are so funny, like die 9 times, cats will have 9 lives. Trying to think.
Yeah, well, I guess before we dive into it, let's do a little sub category here, trophy review. What do we think about the trophy list in this game? I think the trophy list is fantastic. You know, it said it invites some replayability, not too much, but like you were talking about the sleep for an hour in game, scratch everything, meow 100 times. No, yeah, there's some PlayStation
Jump
collectible
jump
ones.
500.
Oh, I mean that one you get just by naturally playing the
Yeah.
game. But I
Like
think this
some of
is.
them, it took me a few tries. Boom chakalaka. There's the little basketball set up, and it's literally just getting the cat lined up just right and just nudging the basketball down this little like staircase into a bucket. Like that
I
one took me 3 or 4
actually
tries.
I got that one naturally just from exploring the game and being a cat, which
I
is.
almost did. I bounced it off and I was like, oh man, like I like didn't even realize it was a trophy. I was like, man, I really want to get that ball in the bucket. And I like leaned because I was only playing it while my wife was up here. And she watched me for like 45 minutes try my damnedest to get that basketball up. And then when I was like, I can't. And then I found a basketball on the rooftops in the little slum area of the game. I tried knocking the basketball onto a few different roofs and knocking it onto there, and I just couldn't. And she's like, "Okay, give up on the basketball and do something else." And I was like, "Okay, okay, I'm sorry." Like, just zoned in on that. Like, yeah, I gave. There are some fun little trophies to get and collect, and um, some painstaking ones that I'm still working through, excluding the speedrun one, which to me, that I think this is the first game I've played that's had a speedrun trophy, which is like
Oh, I there's a whole bunch of them.
awesome.
I was gonna
Oh,
say.
I'm sure.
Actually, that is my only thing keeping me from giving it a 5 out of 5 on the trophies. Is I hate speedrun trophies. I absolutely
Y-
hate speedrunning for trophies.
I
So if it wasn't for that one, I'd say this is an easy 5 out of 5 platinum trophy. I said the trophies. The trophies back up what the game wants you to do, which is really involve yourself in being this cat and being in this world. I said other than that speedrun trophy, which in my opinion, I dislike speedrun trophies passionately.
yeah.
So I'd say a 4 out of 5 on the old platinum trophy scale that I just came up with. But uh, yeah, that's it. That's it. All of them, but that one, I think, are great and heighten what the game wants you to be, which is a cat. So, all right. Before we get into it, I'll let the audience know out there the non spoiler version of this review is going to be fairly short. DJ and I are both going to give our opinions on the game, put a score on it, and then we're going to move on to just talking about the game in any way, shape, or form we want to do. So, if you haven't beaten the game yet, go into the description on this video or on the podcast audio file. The timestamp will be in there for when the spoilers begin. So if you don't want to know what this game is, if you don't want to know some of the things, play the game first. It's about 5 hour to 6 hour game on your first playthrough, I'd say, and then come back and listen to what we have to say about everything. With all that out of the way, DJ, what did you think about Stray, the video game?
I honestly, there's a bit of it's awesome. I mean, there's a bit of an emotional roller coaster off the bat. Like, um, you start with this just like it's a crazy opening. Like, there's a lightning storm. There's a few cats. It was kind of like, oh, am I going to get to pick a cat? Am I going to make my own cat? Like, no, okay, we're just going into it, and then it's like it does its little setup to like kind of you know start your hero's journey, I guess is the best way to put it. um and then yeah, it's not as puzzle heavy as like Portal, or I can't even think of any other like super puzzle games off the top of my head, but like um it really immerses you, and it's like, hey, do this for me, or just you're more or less, it's just be a cat, like, and it like be a like a stereotypical cat, like paw at stuff, climb, get in little places. There wasn't an achievement for it, but there's two pool tables you find throughout the game. I literally sat on both pool tables and sunk all the balls before moving on. Um, like it just for being for I mean, we technically got it for free because we're on PlayStation Premium, but I mean, I would have spent $25 on this. Like this was
Well, it's 30,
to
but
me. Oh, I thought I saw it for 24 last week or
no,
25.
it's
Oh,
29.99. But still, like,
like to me, worth it. Like
yeah. I
I,
mean,
I was telling Lena, I was like, if I wouldn't have gotten the premium subscription, I still would have bought this. This was so much fun to play, and like still, um, just going back when I was trophy hunting and then accidentally started my speed run, like there was like stuff that I like not necessarily didn't catch the first time through, but just stuff that it was like, oh, like that's right, this was there, and this, and like just noticing details, going back through and looking at stuff is just like, for being a tiny, indie game, like it has some of the coolest scenery, story, like just every like look, feel, everything was so cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that I've consistently said, worth or I guess financial worth is in the eye of the beholder. I've found enjoyment out of games that were 2 hours long that I would be 100% happy with paying 40, 50, $60 for. Whereas I've paid $60 for a 100-hour game and thought that wasn't worth it to me. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed. So we're I've always made the argument that financial worth is up to the individual, but if I was to say, is this game worth it for the money you spend to it? Yes, obviously I think it is, but again, it is up to the individual and what they want out of this game. I would say maybe do a little bit of outward research on your own to figure out if this is something that you like or you would enjoy, and then decide whether you want to buy it now or wait till it's a little bit cheaper and then experience this game for yourself then. But yeah, I'm not the one to make the worth argument too much, but to me, well, for me, $10 a month that I spent on this game is more than worth it to me. So, um,
Yeah.
anything else you want to say before I give my overall thoughts and score, and then we get into talking a little bit more deeper about it?
Um. I We're doing score out of 10. I think I saw you had written down.
Always and forever, sir. Unless,
Okay.
or at least on games.
Um. Yeah, I think. I mean, s- like as far as like the whole arc of the story, I thought it was rather smooth, kind of cool, um, and just unique. Like without giving too much away in this first part, like it just the ending was kind of cool. There was one or two parts that I was like, which we'll get into later, that I wish they would have done a little bit different. But like overall, I thought it was great. And like we talked about last time I was on for ever, um, musically and stylistically, this was just awesome. Like I I saw that you. I'll save your score, but I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Like there's like we kind of said, I as cool as the speed trophy is, that took away a little bit. There were one or two things that happened in the game which we'll get into, that I wish would have done different. Um I d- this not saying that it did, but it's not one that needed to set up a sequel, or that I'm like longing for a sequel. Now, if they just go, hey, here's Stray 2, like, you know, I don't know how they would go about doing a story for that, or whatever. But it just, I mean, I guess they could do a sequel or even like a prequel type game, but it was just so awesome. And like, this is one that I will definitely, down the road, I'm like, I'll have nothing to do, or I'll be in a game lull, and it's like, you know what, let's go play through Stray again. Like, it's only 3-4 hours. Let's go explore. Like, I might not play through the game all the way, but like, I think it's gonna be a little bit like Portal, where it's gonna have high play replayability, where you can, like, hey, I want to go get into mischief as a cat again and screw with robots and screw with the environment and get stuck with a bag on my head. Like, it was a blast to me. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10.
My overall thoughts on this game are simply as followed. Clear my throat. Stray is a masterwork of setting and tone in the video game genre. The detailed environments that you explore, from the crumbling cityscapes occupied by endearing and expressive androids, to the underground sewers void of life and personality invested with the plague that haunts the city above, consistently work together to form what is not only a visually impressive setting, but one that will stick with me for years to come. While the gameplay may lack the mechanical depth of some of its rivals, the sheer joy of exploring this world and the attention to detail that the developers have employed to make you really feel like a stray cat in a strange world is something to behold and applaud. And it is something wholly unique that I find it difficult to not recommend this game to anybody that even has the faintest interest in a narrative driven single player experience. I am proud to give Stray a 9 out of 10 and award it with our Golden Trophy Award. Woo! Yeah, claps all around. So
Yeah.
yeah, this game is phenomenal.
Oh,
I
damn, Shakespeare.
Hey, writing degree, that's what happens. I I love this game. From sun up to sundown, I was playing it. It was one of the most joyful experiences of my life. We just came off of Logan and I's review of Cult of the Lamb. If you want to hear more about our opinion, go and listen to the last episode of the XP podcast, episode 20. Logan and I sit down and talk about that game for about 40 to 45 minutes. It is also fantastic. And this is right up there with exactly what you and I were talking about a couple episodes ago, where I really just love when games like this come out. These small games that are just really all about the experience and the act of playing it. I don't need my 80-hour Horizon game. And I love that game to death. If you haven't listened to our review, well, that's because I haven't posted it yet. I just realized that, but that'll be posted shortly. We DJ and I both love that game, yes, but this is an entirely different aspect of a single player story, to where it's hyper focus on giving you this unique experience and putting you into the shoes of a character that, frankly, I've never played before. I've played as animals before, but I've never played as a cat before in this manner. And I think this was as perfect as a game as it could be from a very small studio, the first game they've ever made. And the only reason they made this is because they wanted to make a game where you were a cat. That's what they set out to do, and everything else that's cool about this game that you and I will talk more about here in a bit is just something that sprouted and came from this core idea of being a cat in an unknown world. And I think they nailed every single aspect that I ever could have wanted from them. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is because, yeah, there's not that much depth here, and towards the end of the game, I think the experience kind of tails off a little bit. Um, as you get into your third, your fourth hour, your fifth hour of playing the game, it's not as impactful as those first couple hours. It's not as awe-inspiring as it was at the beginning. So, yeah, the game's only 5 hours, but if I think this game was any longer, honestly, it would be to the detriment of the game. So I think the game's length is perfect. Um, and you said 3 to 4 hours. I would say a normal person on the first hour, if you're just naturally playing the game and being a cat and exploring this world, it's a 5 to 6 hour game. Which I think is the perfect length. If it was any longer, I would have started to maybe feel some fatigue set in there. But So that, and then some like, the actual depth of the game, there's not really much depth there to the gameplay. You really are just walking around and experiencing this world from the perspective of a four-legged feline. But so yeah, that's where I sit at. 9 out of 10. Golden Trophy Award. Joe Golden Trophy Award. My apologies. Anything you have left to say? Non-spoiler, DJ.
Um, is this what is it? Annapurna Games first, or is this B12's first?
Well, Annapurna is the publisher, so they
Okay,
they publish the game. This is, yeah, the
because
developers. You said they would be 12. I thought it was Blue Box. I'll
it's
have to double check on all that.
it's something. It was something like that, but it had because B12 I think is where they got the name of the robot or
Blue
your little
12.
droid thing.
Blue 12
Blue
Studio.
12. Okay.
So yeah, they were the
Um,
developers. This is their first official
because I
game.
just seen another thing from Annapurna, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm hyped for that. Like if they just did Stray, like sign me up for their next game. Like holy shit. Um, yeah, it just like you said, I would say once you get to the meat, not really the meat, you kind of hit a peak, and then it's almost like they knew, hey, we don't want fatigue to set in on this. So you get to a certain point and the game wraps up rather quick. But I mean, kind of throughout, like there's a little bit it could have been a little more, I get not really in depth, but it it yeah, it moved along rather smooth, and it just, yeah, it's a quick hitting fun experience. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what this company does in the future.
So with all that, that is the end, everybody out there, of the non-spoiler portion of this review. We both gave it a 9 out of 10, which does earn it our Golden Trophy Award here at the Experience Point. So congratulations to Stray. With all that, we're now going to move into the spoiler version of the review. So those of you that don't want anything spoiled, don't want to hear anything, leave this video and then come back when you're done and hear what we have to say. So that will be happening in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. DJ, why the fuck did the robot have to die, and did you cry?
Oh my god! Like,
I
so
uh
I
I
played
didn't
the I
cry.
played this with Lena.
It pushed me to tears though, but man, that ending fucking hit me like a
So
brick.
I was like, kind of like, how is this gonna go? Am I literally just gonna like, are me and this group of cats gonna explore our way through the city? And then you fall in the beginning, and you're like, okay, he's a cat. And then you see he's hurt, and he kind of passes out, and I'm like, Lena was bawling. I was like, damn, I'm like, oh my god, like this cat, like what the hell? And then moving through it, and there's a few, like, a couple of the robots you feel kind of bad for, and then like just that
Why?
bottom storyline of little B12 is like he was a human.
Yeah. It's
And
revealed throughout the game, for those of you listening now of the spoiler portion. It's revealed throughout the game towards the tail end that the AI, the little robot that had been following you, which has some incredible heart wrenching moments throughout the story that really builds this friendship between your, I guess let's just call him. Do you want to just call him the cat? Do you want to call him I don't know. He's the cat. He doesn't have a name.
um
He's the cat. But him
yeah,
and this little
I've
robot B12, it's
I've been
found
just
out.
calling him, the feline or little friend or the
Yeah.
cat. Yeah,
Yeah, it's revealed that the AI within B12 is the remnants of the last human to ever live, or something like that. It's the
at least
scientists.
live in this
Yeah,
city, this encapsulated city. Because I from the what I gathered, this is kind of like the humans knew the apocalypse was coming, so they started moving into these cities, and then these robots were created kind of along the lines of Wally to like clean up and maintain the city, and
yeah. It's
then the
very, yeah.
humans
I think you nailed it.
left.
No, I don't think the humans left. The humans just, because like there's remnants of the humans, and that's when B12 realizes, when he goes into that final city, the one that's stacked up against a tree that leads to the exit. Uh, that's like the remnants of him. He was the final scientist. That's like his remains.
Yeah.
So I think, they were all put in these cities, and as you learn, the people that were controlling these cities from the towers and all that just eventually died and left everyone in the city to die. It's one thing that I couldn't shake the fact that I'm like, dude, this game is very dark and depressing, and it's sad what happened to the world outside that you're trying to get back to. And then on the same time, what's sad that all the robots have become sentient and they don't know any better. But they're sentient into the way that they're essentially humans. Like I would call them human intelligence levels and all that. They have
Oh,
born,
for sure. I mean,
raised, and lived in this locked environment for the entirety of their life.
and I mean they had little restaurants, they had a nightclub, they had there was doctors, there was mechanics, like yeah, they're literally just living as humans. Like it was kind of crazy. And then like you move up, there's police drones and there's a full on company yet, which that was like the weird like that was like the weird are humans still around and they've abandoned the city, or are is there a higher AI power, or like that was the one part
Well, the game
where I
kind
was
of
kind of get
go ahead. Sorry.
that was the one part that I was kind of like, are they gonna build this to be like, is there gonna be a Stray 2 where um, we see like what like are there still humans in another city? Um, or are we gonna get like a prequel to like show? Obviously, it wouldn't necessarily be the same cat. Like maybe the cat's parents, um, or something. I don't know. Like just be there while like right before the humans left or died out, or it just like that part was kind of the most intriguing to me is like where are the humans, and if they're all dead, because that's seemed to be heavily implied as they just all disappeared and vanished, which I definitely interpreted as either all died or all but a few died and then left, and then it's like why are you guys still operating, like then the robots are operating under a weird hierarchy that was just obviously human learned, because that was like you learn a little bit here and there, that's their programming, but it was just very like such a big question mark that I'm glad didn't get fully answered, and kind of not really left a window for us for more game, but it was cool overall. Like, and the only thing that really kind of ticked me off at the very end, other than like you said to start this, the sadness of your robot being like, "Hey, I'm glad I met you. You're a cool little cat. Thanks for helping me find out and remember what happened. And like I'm gonna set you free." And the only thing that really made me mad was that your little like I'm assuming your cat siblings like didn't show up at the end. Like obviously they're not gonna know that I'm not sure where you fall into the city, and that was obviously looked like it was up towards the top of everything, but like I was a little pissed that like the cats didn't somehow realize that you were coming out there, or just weren't milling around and like up there, kind of made me mad. But at the same time, it's like, well, how are the other cats supposed to know that like you just didn't die? So, but yeah, it just the dystopian part of it, I think they kind of smashed out of the park.
Well,
What
yeah,
did you
that
think about that?
Well, I'll just say like, that's what I talked about kind of in my overall thoughts and write up there is the feeling of setting and tone in this game is masterfully done, and then it tells the story of this what we've come to be known as the walled city, and it tells the story of this one city while also letting you know that there are others out there. So I think you saying that, is there going to be a sequel? I don't really want there to be. Is there an opportunity for there to be a sequel? Yes, because as you said at the end of the game, uh, the cat doesn't reunite with his pack, which I was kind of like, oh, I kind of wished it was like a meow or something to let me know. But
Yeah,
the cat just kind of goes off into the unknown, a complete stray again. Like he's all by himself. He doesn't even have his companion anymore. And there is that chance that, maybe this weirdly sentient cat that can understand things goes off to other cities. Like that's opportunity. But saying that, I'm like, that just sounds kind of bad. Like I don't want any of that to happen at all. I'd be 100% okay if this is just the game and we
Yeah,
we
that's exactly
saved
how
this.
I.
Yeah, we saved this one city, and in order to do that, the remnants of the last memories of humanity sacrificed themselves to open up these robots to re-inhabit the world that humans left behind. And I think that's kind of poetic in a way. As I say that, I think that's a very poetically deep aspect of the story is that B12 is the digitized conscious of the final human, and that's one of the B12's driving purposes throughout the game is to get out of the city and to spread the memories of the last of humanity and the idea of humanity as itself, but then realizing that, well, they had their chance. The humans had their chance, and they, as per usual, fucked it up. They mucked it up. So maybe, it's time for the robots to not rise up or anything like that, metaphorically, like legitimately rise up out of the sunken city. Like I don't mean rise up
Yeah.
in like the Terminator aspect of it, but like maybe it's time for someone else to come around and try to re-inhabit the world in a way. And that's one thing that I actually love. There is a lot of questions. Oh, sorry. There's a lot of questions left at the end of this game of what happens because, like you said, you open up this city to the light. You open up the robots to the outside world. You free everybody within it, and then you walk off into the sunset or into the unknown world as a stray cat still. And said it's
Yes,
just
that
it's just,
was very poetic. Like,
yeah.
you as the cat literally had one goal. It was, I want to get back outside so that I can, hopefully link back up with my crew. And then it was just like, yeah, that final door opens, or the final thing goes off, and the little robot with like his last gasp is like, "Hey, let me take the little backpack off you, and like you're free again. Like, we did it. We freed the city. We freed the robots. Now you go be free again, and you go live your little cat life again. And we did it. We got you out of the city. Like, that's, you helped me, kind of fulfill my last little life, I guess. And now it's your turn to go live yours." And the cat just kind of like paused at it a little bit, which, like you said, was fucking heart wrenching when he's like,
Quick,
"No, I like you, little robot." Like,
how long did you lay there with the robot curled up at the end? I laid there for the entire
oh
time
my
that
god.
the ceiling was opening or the doors were
Oh
opening or
yeah.
whatever you said. I
I
laid there for the whole time and
I
just watched it all happen.
I curled up next to him, and I'm like, maybe, like, I was like, maybe if I lay here, I even meowed a few times. I was like, maybe, like, the doors will open and something will click back on, and he'll like the legit solar power will like hit him, and he'll like and it's like, okay, we're definitely gonna get it straight to then. And then it didn't, and he just lay there. And then it's like, when you get back up, the cat just seems like obviously not heartbroken, but like, when he
Oh, he's
first is
sad.
pawned with him,
He's definitely
when
sad.
yeah, he's definitely like kind of like, man, like, I know I just wanted to find my cat friends, but like, I met all these cool robots. I had this little dude helping me, and we were basically talking to the robots. And like, the cat seemed to then understand what the robots were saying. So like, obviously they don't show, like, the robot isn't like meowing back at you, but it found a way to communicate with you. So like, that was just like, man, like, and the cat just seems like, man, like, I lost my little buddy and my little toy pal. Like, this kind of sucks. And then he's like, well, at least I can go. And then he trots up the little stairs. You see it's back in that, you know, broken down outer shell and the overgrown trees and stuff. And then he just kind of climbs up the stairs, and it's like, you get that moment of, are his cat friends gonna pop out? And they don't. And then you're like, he's just like, he looks around, he's like, well, I better go find them again, I guess. and then it trails off, and it's just like, damn, that was like, holy shit, like that.
I
It
mean,
was just like,
I
yeah,
will say the ending hits very well. I think they nailed what they were going for. There's quite a bit of people out there that I've talked to that on Reddit and other things that were like that were a little disappointed that we didn't get more resolution with, you know, the cat finding his group or anything like that. I don't honestly think it would take anything away if like the cat walked out the doors, your protagonist walks out the doors, and his friends just sitting there waiting for him. And I think like, and then they go off as a pack. I don't think that takes away from the ending, but that's not what they chose to do. So I'm okay with it. That was a little bit like, oh man, he didn't find him, but at the end of the day, that didn't that I was thinking more about how we keep saying the word, but like how poetic it was to have the final conscience of humanity sacrifice themselves for the greater good of the planet, and I guess theoretically the greater good of the planet. So because there's different ruling factors now, um, so yes. I don't know if you actually asked me a question. I don't remember where we were talking about, but I did want to take a side skirt, take a right hand turn, and talk about some of the actual other characters in the game other than uh, the cat and B12. What do you think of Clementine, the lady you run into that helps you escape?
um, that's where like the craziness of the story is. Like, there was just that weird hierarchy of there's still like robots in charge or something in charge that like didn't want them to leave or find out that, hey, there's no humans or something keeping us here. If we make it so far, we can get out of here. And like, you run into those handful of robots that were like, yeah, that's our goal. And it was just cool that like she was like, you know, she too. She now obviously you don't see what happens to her, but you get your little guy back, you get B12 back, and then you escape what is
Oh,
essentially is prison.
how cool was the
Um,
scene though when Clementine was running out and you as the protagonist is like, no, we have to save him, and like he just sits there and meows, or you just sit there and meow,
yeah,
and you communicate through that to Clementine that you can't leave the person that got you there or the thing or
yeah.
entity that got you there. I was like, oh,
And then
that was so
she's like,
sad.
yeah, she's like, go for it. And then like you go through that, and then she gets the little cart thing, and she's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And then you guys get so far, and then she's like, do this for us. Like, it
Well, yeah,
wasn't necessarily
their
a
whole
necessary sacrifice, but it was like it wasn't like all the robot the two or three, was it, is it Mojo? No, Momo.
Momo, yeah, yeah.
Momo, do you meet
There's Doc,
uh
there's
Doc?
Seamus, his
What's the third
son.
friend? There's Balthazar or something like that. Zanzibar?
Well, there's the Guardian from the first city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's the four notebooks you collect, and one of them is like Zanzibar or Balthazar or something like that.
Yeah, all those
Zanzibar.
people are essentially gone, or at least what it feels like. It's
Yeah.
Clementine's the only one that makes it out. And it is kind of interesting that this whole group is, at least I kind of caught parallels to like kind of the underground railroad in a way. Like this whole
Yeah.
group's idea was, and it's really driven home when Clementine sacrifices, well, not sacrifices herself, but uses herself as a distraction. This whole idea is to just get one person out. Like if one person can get out, they'll be okay and they'll
And
free
like
us. You know?
all of them kind of like Doc is like, "Hey, I hooked up your little dude. He can use to smash the Zerks. Like, as much as I would love to, I'm back with my son." Which that was a cool but weird dynamic that like the robot has a kid, but it was still awesome. But it was like he's like, I'm back here. It sucked when we were apart. Like, he thought I was dead. I thought I was gonna die. Like, I'm gonna stay with him, but you go on ahead. You and Momo go. So you and Momo get so far, and then you can't get that door open. And Momo's like, "Hey, I've got the other light. like you go, you find Clementine. I'll figure out a way up there. You go and let her know that I'm coming and we're gonna do this. Like the plan's not dead. We're gonna get out of here. And then you go through all the stuff with her, and then it's not like an actual sacrifice person. Like you don't see her die or anything, but she goes no, one like you said, just one of us has to get out of here. That's our goal. Is one of us has to make it out of here alive. You you got this far. You deserve to be the one to go. I would not she doesn't like say like, hey, I was sitting on my ass doing nothing. You came up, I was in hiding, you came up, you said, hey, let's do this. You go. It was one of us needs to get out. I can be I can be what throws, the security bots and drones off. You make it out of here. Here, go take the stuff, go do the thing, get out, make it out of here, little buddy. And then you're just like, man, like really, like no, like they they're far. Like we can run up these stairs right now. We can make it. Like what else are they gonna do? Like, and that's where it was like, is there like some big entity or ultimate antagonist or
I think it's
like
just like,
final boss?
the remnants of the AIs of the human, like all those police
Yeah,
states and everything that we're talking about was just remnants of the programming that these robots had initiated, and those things were designed to keep the original occupants, a la the humans, locked away, safe, quote unquote, from the outside world, which eventually would be the ultimate downfall. And you just have to defeat the remnants of that idea to
and
free
it
these
was
new inhabitants, you know?
yeah, and it was very. Most of the robots just seem to be, we're not going to mess with the status quo, and maybe there is something that moved on because like they were like, hey, we live in this. It's built into levels, like you know maybe there's something way up there at the top because none of us have ever really been to the top in a long time. Like maybe they're all up there living it up, but maybe we can reach them and be like, hey, just let us go. Like let us go. We want to go to the outside. Like there's got to be something out there. There's got to be more than just this city. And like they just wanted that as a goal. Now, would it have been cool if you see Momo and Clementine and Doc, like you flash to them seeing the dome open and you get that little moment of all them like our little buddy did it. Like
Well, you
awesome.
do. Like, I think that comes through clearly when the ceiling's opening or the gates are opening.
Oh, they
The
do. That's right. They do show that in like
yeah.
the credits, right?
Well, not the
Yeah.
credits, no. Like, as the gates opening, there's that whole cutscene where the light shines on these robots for the first
Oh,
time.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it goes through all the people that you met, and like the Guardian Angel, or not the Guardian Angel, the Guardian something, I forgot what his name was. But
I
yeah,
think he was
Doc
just the
and
Guardian.
yeah, Doc and Seamus all get it, and then the light also destroys the Zerks, which is the plague covering. So I think the idea
Yeah.
is that you, as the stray cat, the protagonist, have freed these people from the lockdown and the persecution that they had been experiencing for their whole lives, not knowing if anything else is out there. Because that's one whole driving force is like these people, Clementine, Momo, all these other characters are trying desperately to get out of this city, not knowing if anything is out there, just trying to escape for some reprieve from the life that they've lived, again, with having zero knowledge of if there's anything better out there. It really is kind of an analog for, like I said, um, well, I guess I can't really come up with a great analog, but it really is an analog for just people stuck in a situation and they're just desperately trying to get out of that situation, not knowing if what's on the other side is better or worse. And you, as the protagonist,
And
and you and B12 as the last remaining entity of humanity, enable that. I said, enable them to experience what's on that other side. And I think we're left with the knowledge that it will be better for them because the plague is done and because now they can live under the sun for the first time and experience life the way that it is uniformly supposed to be lived.
And to add on to that and kind of go, I mean, poetic has been heavy for us in this, but it just usually when you have something like this, like there's the dreamer character, and usually they become a main focus, and the dreamer is the one that accomplishes the goal. Now, in this, you had the couple of dreamers that they had kind of given up on the dream, and then you revitalize it for them, and then throughout, like Doc's dream changes, and it becomes I just want to be with the person I want to be with. Like I want to be with my family. I want to be with the people I love. Like that's my dream now. You go on. You live our dream, our original dream. And then Momo gets stuck, and he's I really want to see Clementine again, but you go, you find Clementine, like open up the city. You live the dream. And then Clementine gets to that point where she's like, man, I'm so close. Like I was stuck hiding for so long. Like you you got this. You go open it up, get out. You live our dream. And then the cat just he does that. He gets to go outside, and he I mean yes, he has a little sad moment, and B12 has a sad, like, even B12 is, you know, I'm not a human anymore. But I got to I got to live the dream of getting the city back open and setting obviously it's not humanity, but setting everyone free. Like, and it was like it was a very unique take on the dreamer meeting their goal, but the dream was a shared experience, and then it evolved to, this is what my part of the dream is now, you go live the main part. And it was that I'm still part of the main part, and well, now I just want to live this part, and it just kind of escalated and evolved throughout. And then you got to fulfill the dream and the wishes of everyone. And I think, like, trying to think of all the other games, all the movies, books, TV shows, everything throughout pop culture that's had this kind of, will the dreamer make their dream come true type of thing. Like this is probably the most unique take on that I've ever seen, where it started as one goal and then it branched off for others, but then the main goal was still completed and done and just satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the hammer with what this game is, and the story that it tells is really just a satisfying tale, but also a very minimalistic tale. And I think it's credit to the developers that they kept this singular focus on this idea of what they wanted to tell, while having all these different nuances in these different characters, and all this is given to the player in an incredibly well paced 5 hours. Like, you say 5 hours, you're like, well, that's not a lot of time. And I'm like, no, that's, again, like I said earlier, the perfect amount of time. I think this game is perfectly paced and perfectly doles out its information. Um, that the more you learn, the deeper connection you have to this place that you exist in, and this place that you're ultimately trying to escape. But at the end, while you don't really have a choice of what happens at all, the game makes you do things. You want to free these people. You want to help these people get out of the situation that they've been in, and help the people that you've met and that have helped you along the way. Because every single person that you meet as the protagonist, in some way or another, helps you along your goal of getting out. And at the very end of the game, you return the favor in kind and help them get out of the hand that they've been dealt, in the situation that they were forced to live in by people that existed hundreds of years before they even became an idea or an entity. And again, we keep.
Just
So,
thinking on the two,
go ahead.
just thinking on the two, like if you were a human in this, the thought process behind it was, I'm gonna help these people to get to my ultimate goal, and then I don't care what happens with them. But throughout this, you're like, yeah, you as the protagonist, obviously you're still a human out playing the game, but like you're just like, I mean, if these robots really wanted, they could probably get around all this. Yeah, I'm teeny tiny, but I'm sure they could have come up with some sort of drone or their own little like mechanical cat or something to figure all this out. And you just kind of showed up, and they're like, you're almost like a spark of hope or a spark of joy. You're just like, you pop up, and they're like, hey, maybe stuff can happen. And then yeah, there's like sometimes I feel like in movies and other games, like when this kind of situation arises, it's a very in a non-malicious way. It's, I'm gonna help you just so I can advance my cause, and then I don't give a shit what happens to you. In this, it's, you know,
They're helping each other.
the cat, the cat perfectly, like, you know, yeah, and the cat does a good job of showing, even though it's a cat, it does a good job, especially with the help of B12 kind of narrating for him, does a good job of like, man, I don't want to leave you, like we're in this together. And then they're like, no, like you go on, I'll get there eventually. You go, this is for you, we're helping you, not you're helping us. But like the cat's like, nah, brah, like we're all helping each other. And then it just, like I said, this is, and I know we keep saying poetic, but this was like the best version I think of taking the humanistic
Yes.
tendency of like, I'm just gonna help you people till I don't need you anymore. Being the cat and not having that human element, you're, let's, we're all working towards the same goal. We want to get out of here. Like let's work with each other. Whereas I feel like a lot of times the human, maybe not necessarily in video games, because you can live in that more dream-like, we're all in this together type deal, like Disney movie-esque. But the cat was very, hey, we're in this together, guys. Like I'm not using you, you're not using me. Like I'm helping you, you're helping me. Like like we're gonna accomplish this. And then I thought it did a good job of, I don't know if they're trying to, but kind of showing like, hey, even though none of us are all human, we broke, and like the robots are programmed by the humans, and they're very, very humanistic. They're they got to skip that every man for themselves mentality, and we're just like, we're all working towards the same thing, and we're gonna get there. And that was like beautifully done by the game creators.
Yeah, I think everything. I want to start wrapping this up, but
Yeah.
I think everything that we're saying and everything that we're going on just speaks to, well, okay, let me restart. I want to boil our thoughts down that everything outside of the gameplay is, I think, as intended and as perfect as it was meant to be. Yeah, the setting, the place, the tone, the characters, the story told, all that is fantastically done. I think it's amazing and everything like that. And the gameplay is just there to help you interact and to help you feel like you're a part of the world. And so, yeah, I think that comes to the natural conclusion of the conversation. Do you have anything more to say, sir?
Um, just, guy, like, you gotta go play this, guys, if you haven't yet. Um, like we kind of touched on, if it gets a sequel, cool. It'd be interesting to see what it was. I don't think it needs a sequel. I think it was great. Um, Start to finish, it was awesome story, awesome game, awesome takes on all this. Um, yeah, go play it. It's worth the 4, 5, 6 hours it's going to take for you to explore, have fun, have ups, have downs. And it's, for being a game about a cat just trying to make its way and interact with some robots, it'll pull on your heartstrings a little bit. And it was awesome.
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say is the game is lifted up by its simplicity instead of negated by its brought down by its simplicity. I think the simple nature of how you go about the world and how you interact with the world is what heightens the experience. Um, and I think that was intentional. So good job, Blue 12 Studios. Good job, Annapurna, for helping bring this game to us and to the other people out there who have enjoyed this. Speaking of enjoying out there, listeners, if you have enjoyed this, like I said earlier, please go check out the XP podcast. We talk about video games each and every week. That's over on our YouTube page and our Patreon pages. You can find us by going to patreon.com, going to YouTube, and searching Experience Points, spelled capital X, capital P, ERIENCEPOINT. You'll find all of our content there, along with all of our videos and reviews posted there. If you do like us, please keep coming back, keep listening to what we have to say. DJ, anything else before we roll out?
Um, no, not that I can think of. Look forward to our next conversation and you know, gaming.
Gaming. That's what we do here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We hope you all have a great week. We hope you keep coming back and listening to us talk about video games and pop culture here. With that, we hope everyone has a fantastic week, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.
See you.